Alrighty, friends, we are back. It's your favorite podcast show of the week. It's Location Weekly. This is episode number 682, and we are recording on August the 12th. Brianna, how you doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty well. Nice weekend, good weather up here. It's still hot, but you can start to see it's cool, trending cooler now, and as we get into the fall and back to school and everything. So, yeah,
No, can you believe it? It's almost time. Oh,
I know,
I'm not ready.
crazy. So. Yeah, but still lots to do. I'm heading to Chicago towards the end of this week for some meetings, and um, it just worked out that my Blue Jays are playing the Cubs at Wrigley, so I'm going to go do that too on Friday. So
That sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah,
So good. Well, better than the White Sox. They're having a
yeah,
record break
they're not doing too
and
well,
not a good way.
not in a good way. Breaking records, but not good ones. Yeah. Anyhow, all right. Well, let's kick this off. We have four stories to cover, and we'll let you lead us as usual.
Okay, well, I'm going to start off with a story from a listener friend and CEO of a company called Ivy that they sent to me. And Ivy is a mobility software provider. So basically, what they do is they work with the likes of Uber and Lyft and other ride-hailing companies, and they create passenger experiences within those. So they have now announced a new partnership that's pretty cool with TikTok. And this is part of TikTok's entertainment out of phone experience, clever right there, initiative. So the out of home solution basically allows brands to amplify or extend their audience on platform content beyond the mobile screen into everyday life, right? So riders that are inside of these IV enabled vehicles will have access to TikTok's premium short form content and TikTok's advertisers obviously are going to have the benefit of reaching new audiences. And Ivy's got a measurable and interactive digital out of home experience. So pretty cool. I think that audience extension is happening a lot on different platforms, whether that's into digital out of home, into social, into CTV. There's just so many different partnership opportunities that are happening right now. And I think it's cool to see yet another one. So, the Ivy Ads product is going to be like an add-on that advertisers that are buying through TikTok can just enable, and the platform they can target passengers via transit and like personalized experiences. They can watch their favorite TV shows, catch up on the news there, get recommendations based on the destination that they're going on. And they're rolling this out. This is in New York City, LA, Miami, and Chicago right now via the Black Lane networks. But I think if this is growing, we're going to see a little bit more on that. Some of the numbers that I liked that they touted in this story is that they're getting higher click-through rates versus just traditional methods. So they've got like 6 times higher click-through rates than Google, YouTube, Facebook, and 2x times some of the competitive video views than YouTube and Facebook as well. They've also got some intelligent targeting, so geolocation, obviously, day parting, content types. I think of contextual in addition to the geo, which is pretty cool. And then some impactful analysis. So the analytics on the back end, which they can track, advertisers can track performance of their campaigns and then make better, probably planning and buying decisions for the future. So all in all, I think this is a cool platform. Congrats to the Ivy folks on penning this partnership. I think it's a great opportunity for them to scale and grow.
Yeah, I'm not going to add a lot to this. I think it's a really solid partnership. I mean, I love sort of what Ivy's doing in this whole sort of in-car entertainment space in general. We've talked about, different, networks playing in taxi cabs and Ubers and so on. I think from a TikTok perspective, they've really been pushing the short form content partnerships in a good way. I think it was probably about a year ago we talked about them doing a partnership with gas station TV. So the same kind of content displayed in, the screens over the gas pumps, when you're pumping fuel in your car, and bringing that short form content to that audience. And I think, staying, with what Ivy's doing here now in the sort of on the move vehicular, geo-targeted entertainment, I think it makes a ton of sense. So whether you're in the car, being exposed to that, or you're fueling your car and being exposed to that, or in some other form, they're starting to hit you, as I like to say, along your path, throughout your day, right? Where you could be impacted at any time in any place. So, really good partnership here, I think, between Ivy and TikTok.
Yep.
All right, second story. So this is a funding announcement. So big player in the location data analytics space, Placer.AI. It wasn't sort of publicly touted, but TechCrunch picked up on this, and apparently they filed something called a Form D in July, which is a funding mechanism, and they've raised $75 million at a new valuation that is close to 1.5 billion. So I think to me that this is very newsworthy because you don't see a lot of companies in the location data ecosystem, with these kinds of valuations, with this kind of scale. And this being a company that only operates, in the US market, right? So not in Canada, not in Europe. And so, yeah, I mean, and it's a big jump because they raised 100 million Series C not that long ago last year at a $1 billion valuation. And now to see that jump, nearly 50% since the last round in essentially a year, I think is great. I know they closed the year last year. I remember seeing, numbers come out towards the end of the year saying that they had hit 100 million in ARR, from a revenue perspective. So, I think, from that point of view, in terms of showing growth and showing scale of how this data can be applied to our industry, be it in real estate or financial services or, CPG or entertainment, or retail, they're having good success, across the board with a lot of that. And my understanding is, pretty much the same investors that were in the last round participated in this secondary round as well. So yeah, congrats to Placer. Any thoughts?
No, not really. It's interesting to see. I mean, this is a massive round of like funding. Um, I think the only thing that I would add is like it's interesting to see a location-based services company like going all in when we've seen a lot of consolidation. So obviously there's still growth, there's still opportunity in the space, or it wouldn't be getting this kind of funding and attention. So I think it's just interesting and one to pay attention to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, let's put on some rose-colored glasses. Maybe, maybe not. But Ray-Ban, I'm sure saw this. This has been kind of one of the spotlights of a lot of the marketing and advertising happening around the Olympics with Meta and the smart glasses. And, I think the question is this what the future looks like? You've got some nice trendy glasses on there, Asif. Maybe those could be smart glasses at some point too, right? So, EssilorLuxottica partnered with Meta to create this new collection under the Ray-Ban brand. And currently, the frames are really the first that are supporting now live streaming, and they're fully integrated with Meta AI features. So let's like talk a little bit about what that means and what does that allow people to do. Well, viewers, literally viewers, the users of the glasses can interact with their surroundings. They can even use prescription lenses, so you could have hands-free smart connectivity. You have to use this with a MetaView app. That's the main hub for the Ray-Ban Meta functionality. And they're using it with AI, right? So you can toggle calls, you have music, photos, streaming, messaging, live information, all these different features that come within that. So the partnership was announced in 2020, but now this is like really starting to bloom and blossom. And so I think this is pretty cool. There's 21 different styles. So again, you can have prescription or transition lenses if that's something that you need, that adapt to the lighting. And then the difference really is like you have these tiny cameras. You have small mics throughout the frames, including one in the nose bridge to hear you. And so there's 5 microphones. They are saying it's like really crisp audio transmission from all the different angles. And you can be aware of your surroundings without having to hold a phone or device. They also have privacy LED light, which I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that's interesting. So with the imaging, you get a 12 megapixel camera. You can take photos and videos right there. You can live stream them. You do have to link this with a smartphone. So you got to use it with Android or iOS, certain levels or above. And I think it's interesting just to see kind of some of the reactions that we're seeing in both the US and the UK. I think it's been more widely accepted probably in the US, but marketers and advertisers are like, oh, this is great. We're going to have this AR opportunities for our marketing and advertising efforts. And then, I think consumers are kind of wondering, how is this going to impact my shopping habits? But I'm also wondering, how is it going to impact privacy concerns, right? So like you're not giving your consent to being monitored by other people's by other people's like smart lenses, right? So you're like, what is this? 57% are saying it would actively help them make purchasing decisions. You can like look at a product, look it up maybe. I think that's a pretty cool feature. Um, it reminds me of, Snap came out with their spectacles. I think they're now on their third iteration. This is like it is a new consumer behavior. It's going to be a new learned consumer behavior. I think it will scale. I have personal concerns about using this. I already know my phone is listening to me. Whenever I have a conversation with my husband about anything, immediately there's advertising that shows up, that is like exactly what we were talking about, time over time over time. So it's like the idea of having something that's even more accessible to all of my conversations, all of what I'm seeing. My question kind of becomes, how does this impact my worldview? And do I get to have my own worldview, or is it constantly going to be influenced by other people, right? Like that's the world we live in today. I think our political views, our religious views, everything is impacted by what we see on social. And right now we actually have to open an app and go to that. But I can't imagine what the impact could be if we're seeing that influence happening in real time right through our eyes, right? And I think this is just the beginning. So I definitely have concerns about this. I think the technology is really cool. I see the exciting advertising and marketing applications. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be aware of and think about. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really great. I mean, as somebody who, wears glasses regularly, being able to have this kind of capability with prescription lenses, I think it's super interesting. I think from a retail and advertising perspective, I see lots of potential with this. I mean, being able to, see an item through, through your eyes or through these lenses, and then be able to, use the meta AI to, say, hey, where's the closest store I can buy that thing, or where can I purchase that? Having those kinds of sort of visual search capabilities, and audio tied into that, whether it's, what's the weather, or, getting, an virtual assistance to something that you're looking at. I was thinking like, picture you're doing some sort of home renovation, you're, tiling something, or, fixing some plumbing or whatever, and you're wearing these glasses, and you could like call some sort of handyman expert, that could come in and see what you're seeing like right through your lenses, right, and then be able to guide you, how to fix something like that kind of stuff. I see massive applications around this, in terms of the use cases. Yeah, I think there's privacy concerns with anything, right? But I think what we're seeing, in the space, whether it's, the growth of somebody like Placer that we talked about earlier, raising that kind of money in a space that, privacy is always an issue, to something like this where, now we're talking about people being able to see what we see, and how do we control that? How do we limit that? How do we, maintain ownership over, the content? I think there's a lot of questions there, and I think, we're super early days, and that has to be explored. But I love the capabilities of this. I'd love to try this myself, and kind of see, what I can do with it, because I think the applications are kind of limitless.
Yeah, I love that idea of it's like a telemedicine for
Yeah,
a
yeah,
handyman. Like, tell me how to fix it, so I'll pay you a portion of it. They don't even have to leave their house. Just like,
exactly, right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, I think it's great. So All right, on to our final story now. So, this was something going back to 1988 when the movie Beetlejuice came out. So, Warner Brothers, the studio behind this, is about to release a sequel this September to Beetlejuice. And yeah, in order to kind of promote this and kind of get people excited about it, they have launched a activation called Escape the Afterlife in Roblox. And for me, we've talked a lot about Roblox. We've talked a lot about, the metaverse and sort of these virtual worlds. But I always get excited about the ones, the applications and activations where, you're sort of blending the virtual world with the real world. And that's where I think this one kind of hits a home run for me because what they've done is inside of this, virtual world called Escape the Afterlife, where you're kind of going around and experiencing Beetlejuice in a gaming environment. And, you have all sorts of callbacks to, the old movie and things from the new movie, content wise. The coolest thing to me that they've done here is they've Fandango, the movie company has set up a virtual box office in the Roblox environment, but in that you can walk in and purchase real world movie tickets to actually go to the movie. And so I think that like, that combination of I'm experiencing, the gaming environment, I'm, earning points and, different user generated content things and so on that you can do in that environment. You can also just go and buy tickets in there to actually go see the movie in person. Now, the caveat to this is that this is currently only available on Roblox mobile and desktop, only in the US, and only users age 13 and older can actually purchase the movie ticket part of it. So, but I think it's a pretty cool combination of real world and virtual world. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean they've tested this like Roblox thing out with a couple of other movies. I think they did it with like Godzilla and or Godzilla Kong the New Empire, and then there was another one where they did the Elf Celebration, the 20-year, which is crazy
Yeah,
that it's been out for 20 years. But makes you feel really old really fast. But I think obviously they're seeing this work. They're seeing fans engage with it in a new environment, and it's like experiential, but it's also driving awareness and, hopefully ticket sales for them, right? So I think this is fun, and I like this. I think there's a lot, again, kind of going back to what we were talking about with like audience extension and our first story, like where else could they take this experience? Could they take it to the metaverse? Could they take it to inside the back of an Uber or Lyft? Like, I think that there's like a lot of opportunities to extend an experience like this, um, and just grow like the interaction with it. So very cool.
awesome. Well, that's our show for this week. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. This has been episode number 682. We appreciate your time. If you have story ideas, please reach out as the folks at Ivy did. And we'd love to include you in what we talk about. If you have feedback for us, that's great too. If we discussed, something that your company's done on the show, feel free to reach out and give us, more information. We're happy to, dig deeper on any of these stories. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.